I really enjoyed this show and what I've seen of it so far. It's got a bit of everything. It's kind of like 10 genres wrapped up in one. How would you describe this show to friends? If someone says to you, oh, have you been in anything recently? Where do you start with this?
I think you already put it auf Deutsch. Sorry.
Well, I think you really put it very succinctly there. It is a wild mix of different genres. So, you feel like crying with the protagonists or laughing with them. And it's a really great entertainment, if you will. So, you just want to be part of it and you want to stay with it.
Man will mitfahren.
Ja, ich denke, wenn man jemandem die Geschichte erzählt, Familie und
yes, I believe, if you tell someone the story, there is this family and their world is going to pieces on the day that their daughter is disappearing. You'd probably think, oh, that must be a terrible drama. And then you say, well, and then the parents start breaking into the neighbours' homes and they uncover the darkest secrets of their neighbour. You'd probably be thinking, oh my God, the suspense of it. But that at the same time, you can still laugh, and that you have, well, one eye is laughing, the other one's crying, if you will, while you're watching the show. That is what I think really is so special about the series. Yes, and then there's the sense of dynamics, that every once in a while you feel like you're really down and then you have managed to climb the mountain again. So it's this up and down, really, that really makes the whole thing so entertaining.
That's probably what, yeah. It's such a remarkable balancing of tonalities, like you guys said. I mean, I was laughing, but then it's a drama, it's a thriller. Even at times, it kind of veers into being a horror. What was it when you first got the script that made you feel confident that all of it would come together well?
Also, als ich das erste Mal ins Casting gegangen bin,
well, when I first went to the casting, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to play in a comedy. I've never done that before. But then it became apparent relatively quickly that it's not just a comedy, that I can scream and cry and laugh without having to make others laugh at the same time. And building on that, if you just look at it as a very honest, a very fundamental kind of story that really, carries with it the truth of life, then you can put this comedy layer on top of that and have tons of fun with it. To just go to the set and be surprised as to what's happening, the situations, the people around you, whatever you can make of that. And you didn't have to stick to one specific kind of, plan. You could just play with what you were given and try to make the best of it. Yes, and when I first read it, I also had a very nice fantasy about Dedo, who is also, livening things up because he's such a bumbling person. So that is, a very interesting mix. And it's a very delicate balance, but people will never, judge him for what he's doing. Yes, and when I first read the script, I thought, I would act just like Carlotta. I would do the very same things. It was not a big stretch for me. But, I may have many elements of Carlotta's. Yes, and I might have toned things down a little.
I mean, this is a question for the parents. Obviously, despite the fact it is very comedic, your characters are going through the worst pain imaginable. Despite the tone not being overly serious, was that a really tough place to go to mentally every day during this shoot?
Das tut natürlich weh, ne?
Well, of course it hurts, trying to get into that headspace, that you're losing a member of your family and you can't find them again. But it's also part of, the art to try and deal with that and to also convey that to the audience. And of course, it's hurting, but you have to somehow find your way in there. Yes, and for me, acting actually means to also look into the darkest corners of my imagination. And, I hope that you don't have to get me out of those dark corners here, but acting itself means, to go where the pain is, really, I have to say. And even if you have to go to places where in my fantasy, are going through the worst possible scenarios that can happen to me. But, I wouldn't have chosen the profession otherwise, I think, because it always fills me with a sense of satisfaction.
Okay.
Okay.
So just very finally then, because I loved all the spying on the neighbours stuff. I thought that was a really funny element to this. But in England, we have a bit of an issue. We don't really get to know our neighbours very well, especially here in London. What's it like in Germany? Are you guys better at kind of getting to know the people that live by your side?
Well, I really think that it depends where you're living, right? So your living situation apparently opens up more opportunities to get to know your neighbours. Well, yes, actually. You know, in Berlin, we've got these large buildings with many, many families living there in a single building. And in England, you've got, if I recall correctly, you know, these small Victorian houses with a small garden so that a family can stick to themselves. But here in Berlin, you know, you mostly have like 7, 8 or more people living in a house. And I think that people get to know each other, you know, just even if it's just in the hallway. And, you know, in our home, for example, we can look into each other's windows. So we know each other rather well. And, well, I am not from Berlin. And I have to say, you know, I have to try and stay away from that. You know, I don't really want to get to know my neighbours too well. I think it's probably like in London, you know, that, you know, showing a bit of consideration to each other is very important, but sometimes you just bump into someone, you know, in your hallway or when you go to the grocer and you think, well, this person has got at least 2 secrets, you know, something buried in their basement probably. And you know, but it's understandable because you all have neighbors. We all have neighbors that appear to be a bit dubious. But in Berlin, if you're lucky, you don't get to meet these neighbors. Well, no, but, you know, I like talking to my neighbors, you know, whenever I need, I don't know, a cup of sugar or 2 eggs, you know, I could just ring their doorbell and say, well, I'm just making a cake and all what's missing is the sugar or the eggs. Yes, that's the same for me. You know, I just go over to my neighbors, ask them for eggs or sugar or dog food. Well, that's what the Berliners say. Everyone who's not from Berlin is just happy to leave the city behind.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take some good advice there. Well, I'm running out of milk, so maybe I'll go next door and get some milk before I have my tea tonight. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated. Best of luck with the release of the show. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!